Alternatively, we'll now turn to member questions. I'll recognize myself for 5 minutes for questioning. I want to start with you, Dr. Cox, if I can. Let's do a real quick stage setting. Algorithms have been utilized in the financial services space since the 1980s, but we've now seen an explosive investment into AI. What is sparking this massive investment in a short answer?
Yeah, I think what is sparking this massive excitement and investment is that this technology is general purpose in a way that previous technologies have not been. So it was a lot of work to train a system before, and now the same system can be used in many different settings.
And it can pull through massive data sets in a way that was not possible in the 1980s. Yep. Although the 1980s as well as today, there's already a regulatory framework in place, fair? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me continue this, and I want to come over to you, Mr. Gorfine, if I can. We're faced with something new, and as we focus on kind of risks and threats, the human mind's really good at thinking about what the risks are. It's not as good at thinking about the potential upside. And if we think about what the Biden administration did, they really took an attitude to the extreme in its handling of artificial intelligence. Fortunately, President Trump has reversed course on this, issuing Executive Order 14179, removing barriers to American leadership in AI, and releasing America's AI Action Plan in July of 2025. So this approach can really accelerate AI development through a try-first approach that removes some of the red tape and onerous regulations. So I want to come to you, Mr. Gorfine. In your opinion, how can the AI Action Plan, or how is the AI Action Plan an improvement over the previous administration's AI approach?
Thank you for the question. I think that what we're seeing right now is an effort to look where there's existing regulation in place and taking an approach of let's allow this to develop so we can actually identify risks and determine whether anything more is needed. I think as many of us have outlined, the financial services industry is a heavily regulated industry. We have existing laws, regulations, and guidance that have been able to adapt and incorporate emerging technologies for decades. There are some approaches, including around the world, that are looking to do things kind of preemptively and in a more prescriptive fashion, versus an approach where we say, hey, we have this scaffolding in place, we have principles in place to guide adoption of technologies in a responsible way. Let's allow this to actually grow and develop. And I think it's critically important that the US does remain the global leader in AI, including in the financial services context. So the environment seems set to unleash that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reisman. I want to build on what Mr. Gorfine just said. In particular, let's dive into data privacy laws, something that's heavily regulated in the financial services space. But with the advent of AI, there's additional concerns that are coming online. So as financial services firms are increasingly deploying AI in areas like lending, fraud detection, customer services, what role will Americans' personal financial data play, and how do we use AI to implicate existing data privacy laws? And of course, the logical follow-up would be, what should we be looking at from an AI perspective as it relates to data privacy?
Thank you very much for this important question. And it's been heartening to me to hear how much we've talked about data privacy today, because I think what we would say is that a sound data privacy framework is a very important foundation for the development of AI and for America's AI leadership. I think data is the raw material on which artificial intelligence depends, and AI model developers depend on having rich data sets to develop high-quality models. So one thing I think that often gets put into the discussion is the idea of a binary between privacy or innovation. And we would absolutely say it's privacy and innovation, and privacy as an enabler. So a good data privacy law with modern interpretation holds on to classic principles we've had for decades in privacy law, but allows for flexible use of data for purposes such as model training and development.
So building on what you're saying, do you believe that we can regulate and address AI under the current regulatory framework, or do you need a new regulatory framework which has been proposed by some?
What I would say is that as a first step, we should look at the framework that we have, look at it closely, and a lot of the elements, as has already been discussed today, are there, and try and be very precise about identifying any lacuna. But first, let's look at what we have.
Dr. Cox, you're nodding. You agree that we can, in many ways, regulate AI through the existing framework?
I think certainly the starting place should be what are the risks, what are the outcomes that you're trying to govern and control, and then any modifications that come from the technology can come from there, but starting fresh.
Thank you very much. I agree. I yield back. I'll now